Instagram have been busy. There's a really big chance that you've missed a lot of updates that Instagram have slowly been releasing to their app. They are going to change the way that you use Instagram and might even make it easier for you to grow. So let's just dive into the most recent Instagram updates, features, and news. By the way, this video is sponsored by HubSpot. More on them later. All right, I'm going to kick off with a crowd pleaser. Okay, I've got to give the people what they want. This new feature that I'm about to break down for you is called Monthly Performance and Recommendations. Essentially, it's a feature which allows you, an Instagram creator, to look back on your previous month's content, see what performed best, and even get some inspiration for your future posts. Now, if you're also a YouTuber, then this might sound familiar because YouTubers have been receiving something similar for a while now. Every single month we get a notification which allows us to look back on the previous month's worth of content, gather some insights, and then make informed choices on our content plan moving forward. So Instagram are slightly late to the game, but in this case, I think it's better late than never. Let me break down some of the information that these recaps will tell you and how you might be able to use these to go viral or just grow your channel. Firstly, you'll know when your monthly performance recap is ready. I hope they change that name because it doesn't quite roll off the tongue, but you'll know it's ready when you receive a notification from Instagram, which will look like this. Instagram will then give you an overview of the top line metrics of how your content has performed. So things like how many views your content got, how many non-followers you reached, and how many followers you gained. It will also give you an overview of how much content you shared from the previous month, and it will show you which posts performed the best for you. In addition to this, it will also tell you when your followers were most active, which I think is quite interesting because whilst we can find this information in our analytics, we don't necessarily track how it changes on a month-by-month basis. So this might be really useful to creators, especially those who suddenly grow in a new market. They might find that actually the posting schedule they were using previously no longer works for them. The bit what I'm most excited for though is this part. This is the inspiration section where it's going to share a few different examples of content that you might want to recreate or put your own spin on for the upcoming month. Now, if this is done well, this could be a game changer for a lot of creators. And by well, I mean Instagram sharing personalized content recommendations for you specifically based on your audience versus them just sharing content that's been popular across the board. That's not going to be useful for us. We know what content's popular. What we need help with is what content is popular for our audience. So if it's able to provide that information for us, that might end up being hugely beneficial to us. Now, a lot of this data that they're going to show to us during these monthly performance recommendations, recaps, I don't know, that long thing that I called it earlier. We actually have access to this data already. This data isn't new. However, by packaging this data up, sharing it in bite-sized formats, making it easier for us to digest what the data is telling us and therefore act on it, hopefully it will allow a lot more creators to improve their content strategies moving forward. By the way, I don't know when this is going to be available to everyone. Some news outlets say that it's already launched, others say that it's in testing. So watch this space. All right, the next feature is called Blend. Did you catch the sigh? Because I don't think I'm the market for this one, and that's okay, you know? Blend is pretty significant because it massively challenges the way in which we use Instagram. Essentially what Blend is a specific Reels feed that you can create with someone else. So it'd be like me and you opening up our Instagram, opening up our DMs, and creating our own Blend feed where we can both see and consume the same Reels. Now, the Reels that we'll see will be based on my interests, but also based on your interests. So that's why they've called it Blend. It's like blending our two algorithms together so that when we go on this Blend feed, we're seeing content that I like, but also content that you like. Now, the reason why Instagram have done this is because they know that most sharing actually happens via DMs. Like most creators share their content publicly on their feed, but in terms of like viewers, all of their engagement is happening in their DMs. I've been saying this for ages because Instagram have been saying this for ages, right? So they're constantly looking for new features that they can release, which supports this and allows people to share even more content via their DMs. And one of the solutions to this is apparently Blend. The reason why this isn't quite landing for me, and also maybe why it's not landing for you, is because it capitalizes on this idea of us sharing Reels with each other via DMs. However, if I share a reel to a mate via my Instagram DMs, it's because I want them to see that specific reel. It's because I'm trying to explain a point. It's because I find that specific reel funny. It's because I find that reel relatable. I don't necessarily want to share a whole feed of reels. I just wanted to share that one reel. So therefore, Blend for me doesn't quite work. It doesn't quite sit with my user behavior of how I interact with my friends on Instagram. It might work for you though. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments as always. Like I love reading through the comments, especially on videos like this, just to get a good sense for how these features might be received. But for me, it doesn't quite hit the mark. It is worth saying though, that if a lot of people love this new feature, it potentially will give us as creators an opportunity to reach a whole new audience. Because essentially, if a bunch of people start sharing their reel feeds with each other using this Blend feature, if one of their algorithms captions shows our content, that means that the other person they're sharing their Reels feed with will also see our content. So we might potentially get more exposure, which is obviously a very positive thing. Okay, I hope you guys have been making notes, because let me tell you, being aware of what's coming to Instagram or what's changing already sets you apart from everyone else. But it's important that you integrate this information with your strategy. Now, if you're in the middle of figuring out where to take your social media strategy next, you're not alone, because as we can tell from this video, social media is rapidly changing. Fortunately, I do have a free resource that I want to share with you today that's going to help you navigate these changes. It's HubSpot's 2025 Social Media Trends Report, and it's available for you to get your hands on right now. The report is built for marketers, creators, and brand leaders. It unpacks what's driving the next wave of social media content, including AI-powered content, short-form video content, to the rise of social commerce. It's basically designed to help you make informed decision and to keep you ahead of the curve. One of my favorite parts of this report is when it breaks down how social media is turned into the new search engine. It talks about how people are no longer turning to Google as their primary search engine, and instead are turning to TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, etc. for product discovery, recommendations, and so much more. In fact, 84% of marketers agree that social is where consumers will search for brands this year. It also dives into the world of community-led growth. This is where brands and creators are shifting from vanity metrics to real relationships. 85% of marketers have stated that they believe community building is the key to success. So if you want to learn more about those two trends, in addition to AI and how it's shaping content creation, short-form content creation, social commerce, etc., it's all available for free inside HubSpot's 2025 Social Media Trends Report. Head to the link in my description to get your hands on this report. Thanks to HubSpot for sponsoring this video. Okay, next update for you all. This one is called Lockable Posts. I'm actually really excited about this one because I think people are going to get really creative with it. It basically allows you to upload a piece of content which is locked, so people can't view it until they complete an action. Now, the example on the screen basically shows a creator using this new feature, and the prompt that they give their audience in order to unlock this lockable post is to enter a code which is included in the caption. Now, you don't have to use this the same way, but I think it's a great way for you to speak directly to those who are truly engaged with your audience, and also to do things like offer exclusive content, discounts, etc., depending on the type of content you create. It's very similar to the reveal sticker that I would have told you about a few update videos ago, which was a sticker released exclusively to Instagram stories where people were able to hide their content and reveal it as a result of someone doing some form of engagement. So let me know what you think about that feature. I just think it's like a fun new one to throw in there. No harm, no foul. The next new feature is called reposts. It's pretty self-explanatory. It basically allows people to repost creators' content onto their own feed. Very similar to the repost option, which has been available on TikTok for a really long time. I love this one. It is tried and tested. It's an obvious move. I feel like people are going to use it quite a lot on their feeds. But the biggest reason why I love this one is because it is a great opportunity for creators. If you create a piece of content that people repost onto their page, you will be able to access a huge chunk of that person's audience. That is amazing for you, right? This is a real growth opportunity for us. If you're wondering the best way to capitalize on this new feature, you have to ensure that a good portion of your content is created for resharing. Most of the time on TikTok, the content that gets reshared a lot is the content that is inspirational in some way. So people want to reshare it because they're like, oh, this hit different and I want my audience to feel the same things. Or it's like newsworthy. So, when something big has happened, there's an update, people want to reshare it so that their audience are also across the update. Those are usually the types of content that are reshared a lot, but I'll continue to monitor this to see how this changes and how maybe our strategy needs to change alongside it. As usual, this feature is not released to everyone yet. Shocking. But as you can see from this screenshot of Adam Mosseri's Instagram page, Adam Mosseri is the head of Instagram, he at some point had access to it. Now, I know what you're about to do. You're about to open up his Instagram to see it. Don't panic if you don't see it. I don't see it either. It's all to do with the version of Instagram that we have. And most of us have different versions from each other for a multitude of reasons. So don't panic, watch this space, follow my Instagram, because that is where I will tell you guys once it's been released to everyone. The next small but mighty, I love that phrase, small but mighty update is the double playback speed on Reels. Thank God for this one, because honestly, I would love to see the data behind this, because I reckon they were genuinely losing a lot of people to TikTok simply because they did not have this very small feature. It is a feature that allows you to play Reels at 2 times speed by long pressing the edge of the video. This has been available on TikTok for a long time. Arguably, maybe it wasn't needed on Instagram for a while because they've only just upped the length of Reels to 3 minutes. You don't usually need to speed through a 90-second reel, but hey, if you're impatient like I am, you probably would still do that. But now you can speed up all Reel content, which is, again, for someone like me, I listen to podcasts at like 1.5 speed. I don't have time. Do you know what I mean? Give me the information quickly. So for someone like me, and probably like you, this was very, very welcome news. This next one is an interesting update because it's not a new feature. It's actually removing an old feature, which doesn't happen much in the world of Instagram. Instagram have announced that they will be removing notes from your feed posts. Do you guys remember what these were? This is a very new update, by the way. They've only had notes available to everyone for like 6 to 12 months. So this is a fairly new feature. It basically allowed you to leave a little message on your content that your followers could see. When this was first released, I was skeptical because as a millennial, anything that reminds me of Facebook, like the notey element of it, just brings back, it's like PTSD or something. Just not a big fan of it. So for me, I didn't quite get it. I will say though, as time progressed, I was starting to see people use this feature in really creative ways, and it was making me warm to the idea, which is a shame because now it's absolutely in the bin and they've gotten rid of it. The reason why they've removed this feature is because it's part of an effort for them to, get this, streamline the app's interface and remove clutter.
What did that just mean?
I just find that interesting because at the same time of me telling you guys they're removing a feature because they're trying to streamline, I'm also telling you about like 8 new features that they're also testing and launching. So streamlining just isn't the vibe that I'm getting from the app, nor has it been the vibe for like the last 3 to 4 years. But hey, I'm just a creator. What do I know? This next one I've spoken about a few times across various social media platforms because I found it ever so slightly disturbing. This one is called AI generated comments. It's basically a feature which allows you to press one button and AI will come up with a comment response for you that it will draft, and all you have to do is press send to respond to your audience. Now, other social media platforms have similar mechanics, but they don't quite take it to this extent. For example, on YouTube, you have quick replies, where YouTube analyzes how you normally respond to comments and reads the comments that you get. And when you head to your YouTube studio and go on the comment tab, you'll actually see a few different options of how you could respond to your audience using this information that YouTube has gathered. So all you have to do is click the option that you want and it will draft the comment for you and you can just press reply. I do think that feature is different to what we're talking about here though, because at least with that feature, the responses are based on how you normally engage with your audience, and also you're still picking the response that you want. I'll also say that most creators only use that feature when they're responding to comments that are easy to respond to. If their audience has asked them a question or it requires a bit more thought in order to go back to them, then they're not going to use that feature. They're going to draft a comment themselves. This AI generated feature that Meta are testing on Instagram and Facebook would basically remove all of that. So it's not about picking a response that works best for you and only using it when it's like an easy comment to respond to. It's actually removing you from the equation completely and letting AI engage with your audience. And I worry about what that's going to do when it comes to our connection with our audience, because you won't even need to read the comment. And reading comments is a really important part of being a creator. Like, it helps you keep your finger on the pulse of how your audience are responding to your content and what they need from you. And I just worry that features like this will remove us from that and it will remove the human element. And I worry about what that will do to our engagement. But maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but also maybe I'm not. So yeah. All right, only a couple more to go, guys, I promise. The next one is to do with direct messaging enhancements. You might recall that earlier on in this video, I explained that Instagram are putting a lot of investment into their direct messaging and any features which foster more DMs, because they know that most sharing happens in the DMs, right? Which is why in almost every single one of these videos that I film, I will spend some time talking about some updates coming to DMs. They are actively investing in this space. The recent updates that I want to take you through include scheduled messages. So you can schedule direct messages to people up to 29 days in advance. I don't think I'm going to use this one. I would love to know from you guys, if you want to use that feature, how you're planning on using it. Can you let me know in the comments? Because for me, it's not a good fit, but I can imagine that it's going to work for a lot of people. So I'd just love to know how you're going to use it. That goes for all these updates, by the way. Just tell me your thoughts. Another feature that they're bringing to DMs is pinned messages. This will give you the ability to pin 3 important messages to the top of your chat box. This is very, very useful. You know, when you're in the middle of a deep conversation with someone, or maybe you're someone who's super popular, congrats, and you get a lot of DMs and you just lose track of the really important ones. Whilst there's things that you can do if you're managing your DMs on the desktop, like pinning the messages, color coding the messages, you could do all of this through the Meta Business Suite. To have the ability to pin 3 important messages on your actual mobile app, I think will be really useful for a lot of people. There will also be message translations, which will allow you to translate messages for up to 99 different languages. Great feature. Big fan. And then music sharing. You can share and listen to 30-second music previews via your DMs. Another one that I would love to know a use case for, because at a minute, I can't see myself or really anyone outside of the music industry using it, but I would love to hear from you guys if you have some ideas of how you can use that one. This final one is going to sound like a negative note to end on, but I promise you, it's actually pretty positive. It's called negative downvotes. It's going to allow people to downvote comments under your content. Again, this might sound similar because it is available on other social media sites such as TikTok, but it's going to be used as a way for Instagram Instagram to reduce the visibility of inappropriate comments, which I think is a great thing. Okay, don't forget that you can grab HubSpot's 2025 social media trends report for free via the link in my description. If you feel like hanging around, I recommend watching this video. It's all about how you can earn a full-time income as a content creator in just 6 steps. This is such a useful video because not only do I break down every single income stream that you should launch as a content creator, but I tell you in which order to do it that is going to set you up for the best possible outcome. So go ahead and watch that one next, if you've got the time. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you found it useful, can you give it a like? I never ask for likes, but they would really help the performance of my channel. Thanks so much for watching. I can't wait to see you in the next one.